everybody. Welcome to our live stream today. We are live on Facebook page, and also on YouTube. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you. I wait a little bit until all who wants to join are coming in. We will, so I will draw today a cat eye and speak about the upcoming Joy of Pastels week, answer questions you have, and also answer questions you have about drawing animals, about drawing with pastels. So I'm happy you are joining, and then I will share my screen with you, my drawing desk. Just a second. And here I have prepared a sheet of pastel mat paper. And already here are some eyes on it. And I will draw here an eye, a cat eye, and explain a bit what I'm doing. And please ask questions. Write me in the comments from where are you watching. Are you drawing with pastels? Would you like to learn how to draw animals with pastels? I'm curious about that. Write me in the comments below. From where are you watching? That would be interesting. And before I now start drawing the cat eye, this is the cat eye I will draw, as you also have seen in the invitation. I want to speak about my upcoming online drawing workshop. Next Monday, we start with the Joy of Pastels week. And we will draw there this beautiful dog eye and a winter landscape scene. And we also draw this beautiful bunny in the snow. If you have any questions, you can also ask questions about it today. You find the link in the description, or if you comment with joy in the comments below that video, we send you all the information in your DMs for registration. We start next Monday. This is a 4 days online drawing workshop in a community. So these are not only drawing lessons, we will draw together live, but there will also be a community. So that's always amazing for drawing together in a group with like-minded people. So if you are thinking about drawing animals, or if you would like to improve your animal portraits, then I invite you to join. I will also answer some questions while I'm drawing. I start here drawing the eye. Just draw along with your pencils you have, or just watch. So whatever you would like to do, and ask questions. I invite you to ask questions in the comments, and I'm happy to answer. Steve is watching from the USA. Thank you for sharing. That's amazing. Who else is here and watching or drawing along? I sketch in here now the outlines of the cat eye. When I draw the sketch, I like here for these eye studies to do it freehand, because it is fun. It is also always good to train your eyes a bit, to draw and sketch something freehand. I start then here with the black outlines around the eyeball, and here we have shadow below the upper eyelid. Hello, everybody. I see you're watching. Please share in the comments from where are you watching. Do you have questions? Would you like to know something? Write it in the comments. So here I sketch in with the black pencil the outlines of that cat eye. And what I also like to do when I sketch in, I bring right away the highlights in, that they are in place. Where are the darkest areas? Where are the lightest areas? Use here the white for sketching in some highlights in the eye. And then also let's sketch in a little bit of fur around the eye. So the fur direction is very important, that you have that in place right away. So I sketch in some hairs above the eye and also here below the cat eye. I draw on the pastel matte paper in the color brown. I highly recommend to use the pastel matte paper. One of the most asked question is, what paper should I use and what pencils should I use? First, I'm drawing with pastel pencils. I'm a pastel pencil artist, and I focus on drawing animals and nature with pastel pencils. And I can highly recommend to work with the Pitt pastel pencils from Faber-Castell for animals, because they are harder, they have a harder lead, and you can draw finer details with them. So they are really nice for fine details, hair, fur structure, animals in general. For landscapes, like this winter landscape, I also prefer to use Rembrandt sticks, so softer pastel sticks, and the Capitello from Stabilo, the pastel pencils from Stabilo. They are also beautiful. They have a beautiful color range, but they are a little bit softer, and for fur, maybe they start to smear and smudge very quickly. But for blending backgrounds, underpainting, the Stabilo Caputellos also are very beautiful to use and great pencils. Would it be possible to have reference photo in view as well, so we can see the photo you're drawing from? Yes, I can put it here a little bit more upwards if you prefer to see that, or here on that side. So now you can see it. But as said, this is a Q&A session today also, not a really in-depth drawing lesson. This is maybe not the best position then, because I place my hand over it. I put it here, then you can see it too. I'm using Casomit and Velvet, is Steve writing in the comments. Great, that's also a great paper. It's the new pastel paper from Casson, and the Meat and Velvet is also a nice paper to work on. It is not exactly the same drawing experience like on the pastel mat, but you can definitely use it. It is a nice working experience. Details are possible. Blending is possible nearly in the similar way. You can add a lot of layers. So that's also the second best option, I would say, you can use for your animal portraits. I'm adding here then the black, bringing in some shadows around the eyes. Please take the opportunity and ask questions. Have you any questions about drawing with pastels? So the pencils I highly recommend are the Pitt pastel pencils, and paper as so the paper, the drawing surface is really very important. The pastel matte paper from Clairefontaine is one paper I can highly recommend. It is so a bit velvety, and it allows a lot of layers. It's a high quality pastel paper, and you can add a lot of pastel pigment on it without that your layers start to smear that your lines mix together. So pastel matte paper, even if it costs a bit more, is highly recommended for the start, because you get so much better results with it. I plot then in ivory here, a light yellow color on the eyeball. So next week, when we start the Joy of Pastels week, we start it on Monday. It's February 3rd, where we start with the dog's eye that I have placed here above. We draw then a dog's eye, and I explain you every step, and how also to layer fur, how to draw fur. There is the community where you can share your portraits, where you can draw together with like-minded artists, with other people who draw the same subject as you. We will celebrate your results together. You have the possibility to get feedback, to answer all your questions. So that's always amazing. It's not only drawing lessons, it's more an drawing event with bonuses. You can win prizes, there will be giveaways, and it is always fun, and you will get done so much done. So you will create your beautiful drawing results. I've also added this time a landscape, because I hear from a lot of people, can I draw animals? Is this not too difficult for me as a beginner? Can I do that? I totally can hear you, but it is created for beginners, this workshop, so that also beginners can achieve that result. So we will also have included the winter landscape. That's a fun exercise for blending layers together and practicing to mix colors directly on the paper. That's always amazing when because you can mix the colors directly with the pastels. Okay, you're posting questions. Great. Here is a question. Do you prefer the pastel mat in the pads or the boards? That's a great question. So I personally, I like the larger boards, because I order them, the larger sheets. They are available in 50 to 70 centimeters, and I think also 60 to 80. And then you can cut the size you want by yourself. And for my drawing lessons in the workshops and in my drawing academy, Animal Art Club, I like to do these little sheets and cut them then in the size I want the paper. So the larger boards for me are the better choice. But there are the pads available with nice sizes too. You can use for your full animal portraits. And the only thing is why I also prefer the larger sheets, because then I can just choose the colors I want. Because in the pads, there are not pads available with, let's say, with only dark gray or with only a brown. And I prefer to use the dark gray and brown colors of the pastel mat, because they are the smoothest and there is the best drawing experience on them. So some colors are a bit rougher, like the anthracite, or some sand colors are a little bit rougher. And in the pads, unfortunately, there are different colors combined, and you cannot choose the colors you want. You have then always some sheets in there that are maybe not so good as others. So I prefer to use the boards, but also the pads are great to use. Strange question. You are using pencils that are not sharp. Is this intentional? I can see this for filling in background. So I don't sharpen the pencils all the time, to be honest, because for especially for base layers, you don't need sharp pencils. So for plotting in the base layer color in the eye, you don't have to sharpen the pencil. It's only applying color on that surface. When it then comes to details, I sharpen them. Or sometimes you have here, so after blotting in colors, you have created some edges on also such a blunt pastel pencil. And you can use this for drawing lines. You see, fine lines are possible even if it has not so a really sharp point. So it always depends. Yes, and I do that intentionally. First, to save the pencil, that it's not gone so quickly, and with little pressure you can also achieve fine lines with a blunt pencil. It depends. This is the sketch. When you have more layers, maybe then the lines start to smear and smudge and you need a bit more pressure. Then of course I sharpen the pencil then afterwards more often, or for finer lines. Right, bringing the highlight again and darken down the area around the highlight a bit with darker colors then. So here I go in with the black a bit around. And also add a bit pastel pigment in the black here below for shadow. Darken down this upper part in the eye. Steve is writing, I just finished the lion and had a hard time getting the whiskers to show with the pig white, how to get them to work better. So when your white pastel pencils are not showing up, for example, when you're drawing the whiskers, you can try out different white pencils. For example, you can try out the Capitello instead of the Pip, or you can try out a general charcoal pencil. This is also available in white, and the charcoal pencils, they are harder, and maybe then if you press a bit more, you can then achieve finer white lines in the whiskers. Or maybe it could be the reason that your layers have too much pigment on it. So maybe next time try to use a little bit less pressure. Or you could also try to press a little bit more when you draw the whiskers. Move the pencil faster. So really fast and press a bit more. That could also work. So try it out how you could get the whiskers showing up better. Do you recommend a pencil brand for fine fur details? I find my Caran d'Ache too soft. Yes, the Pitt pastel pencils. I recommend the Pitt pastel pencils from Faber-Castell I'm using here because they are harder. They are harder pastel pencils, and they are really great for fine fur. I go over here then with some greens also in the eye. Here, bringing in some fine lines around the pupil. Here I also used a bit. So this pencil is not really sharp, but it has here so an edge, and these edges I can also use for fine lines. You're welcome. So the Pitt pastel pencils are really great for fine details, for fur, for animals in general, for portrait. So let's also add a bit green. So I swipe over here a bit with green. I recommend to draw many layers when you are drawing eyes. Drawing eyes is really one of the most fascinating things when you draw animals. And, you know, the eyes are the gates to the soul, and you bring in character and personality with the eyes into your portraits. I always start with the eyes. I love to draw eyes, and it's really fascinating to draw eyes and to bring life on the paper. One question I often get is, do you start with the eyes, or do you draw on the eyes and then finally, or should I leave the area to avoid that there is dirt, so dust, pastel dust on the area of the eyes? But I personally always start with the eyes because I don't want to let them free until the end. I really like to bring in life into the portrait right away, and yes, and eyes are so fun to do. So I always start with them first. Bring in many colors into the iris, also here a bit orange, greens, yellows, and work with the light hand. Blend the layers then well together. Do you have any other questions? Would you like to know something? If you're interested in joining the Joy of Pastels week, February 3rd to 6th, post joy below the video in the comments. Then we send you the link. You find also the link in the description to that video. So if you're interested to sign up, it is a 4-day drawing event, and you can sign up and join us for $10. And yes, as said before, we draw the beautiful dog's eye and a nice, beautiful winter landscape and the sweet bunny in the snow. If I have a question, if you can also join as completely beginner. Yes, for sure. So if you're thinking now you cannot do that, or maybe it is too fast, I will not have time when the live drawing sessions are, that's no problem. First, you get recordings. You have access to the recordings afterwards and can draw at your own pace. They will be hosted on a recording page. The workshop will take place in Zoom. So we will do the live drawing sessions in Zoom, and they will also be streamed into the Facebook group we have. But you can also watch them on a recording page, and that then all at your own pace. So if the time is not right for you, then just you can also then draw at your own pace. Sometimes the live lessons are also a bit too fast for some, and if you cannot follow, I also then recommend to watch first and then draw at your own pace afterwards. Press the pause button and just review it again. So I will sharpen the blue a bit. So for finer details, I need a sharp point. Then I also have to sharpen the pencil for sure. I plot here in the eye corners a little bit blue in here. Also in the inner eye corner and below along the lower eyelid. Always bring light reflections in your eyes. Don't forget that. The light reflections are so important. Hello, Bettina. Bettina is from Austria. Nice to see you. Yes, share. From where are you watching? What is the time in your country? From where are you watching? Tell me in the comments. What is your favorite animal to draw? Or do you prefer to draw landscapes or portraits? What's your favorite subject to draw? Or what subject would you like to learn to draw at someday? Or would you like to, what is your goal? What animal would you like to learn to draw, or is your next portrait on your drawing desk if you are further along on your art journey? Tell me in the comment. I'm curious about that. Okay, this question is also asked a lot. Good question, an important question. What is your preferred method tool for sharpening pastel pencil? So, you know, sharpening pastel pencils is always can be tricky because they break so easily. What I prefer to do is either to use these double metallic sharpeners and sharpen them, but these metallic sharpeners become blunt very quickly. Then it's better to use a craft knife, just a craft knife, and so cut away, like here, the wood. I just show it to you because I get that question really all the time, and it's an important question. And that's my favorite method, to just sharpen the wood away. And then either use sandpaper, or what I like to do, I just then sharpen the front part of the lid here in these double metallic sharpeners, and then create a sharp point. Blow away now that the pigments. When I do that, normally you don't do that directly on the paper for sure, but I wanted to show that to you here in the camera. Yes, and then you have a sharp point, and you can then draw fine details with the pencil. So either I use these metallic sharpeners also for removing the wood, but they become blunt very quickly, and you would have to buy a lot of them, and then you create a lot of waste. So the knife is the better option. Of course, you can also use electric sharpeners. You can use manual sharpeners. You have to figure out what sharpeners do you like best. What method do you prefer? For me, this is the quickest way, and it works also in the best way for me, and I'm very used to do that during the drawing process. And it's also fast, I would say. Okay, Bettina's favorite animals are cats. Great. Who else likes to draw cats? Or what animals are your favorites to draw? Please share below in the comments. I add here a bit some highlights also here above in the shadow. Also in the shadow areas in eyes, you see details. So I bring in here some stains and dots with the flesh color. And let's have a look here above. I add also a bit of a flesh color above the eye, bringing some highlights. Maybe let's add some more details in the eye while I'm answering you the questions. Thank you. I tried the swordfish, but it broke after 2 weeks. Oh, that's a pity. Yes, so the swordfish, it is working. I have also one, but yes, for me, this simple method works really the best. It's also not so expensive, and I'm quicker with the knife and with these double metallic sharpeners. Some of my members in Animal Art Club prefer to use a sandpaper for sharpening just the front part of the lid. During the drawing process, I also just sharpen the front part of the lid a bit, and it's sharp again. So you don't have to remove the wood all the time. So bring in a bit different brown tones and green tones into the eye, maybe also a little bit more yellow, and blend a little bit over the iris. You can easily blend pastel pigment directly on the paper, layer many of them and mix the colors together on the paper. That's really fun. And always use very little pressure. Work with a very light hand. Also add a bit blue on the highlight. A little bit. Bringing a bit blue into the highlight. Signed for Pastel Week today. I'm a completely beginner. Nice. Welcome, Bettina. Nice to have you in. And welcome as the complete beginner. I'm sure you will like it and create beautiful artwork. And we will help you. Also, the other participants are always so helpful. I really focus on a very kind community. People always help each other out, and some that are further away answer questions for those that are starting from scratch. And it's really fun, and you will love it. Okay. So, yes, and then I think that eye looks nice. I will draw a little bit of fur around the eye then too. Here a buff. Cats most times have a buff, so a bit rougher eyebrows. So I add here a bit brown between the lighter strokes I have sketched in first, and bringing the darks first around the eye, bringing a bit darker color below the eye. Hello from Sweden. Hello, Agneta. How do I correct if I accidentally erase with my finger? I tried to draw over again, but it didn't turn out well. Maybe I did it wrong. So you can use kneaded eraser. These are, now I must have a look if I have one here, because I'm today on a different drawing desk than usual. I have not one here, but these are so kneaded erasers. You can press between your fingers, and then you can pick up the pastel pigment with these erasers. They are called kneaded erasers. I have also swiped over a little bit before over this eye here, but you can then pick up the pigment and remove the pastel pigment a bit. I would try that first out before you overdraw. And then again, and remove the pigment a bit and try if you that can correct it. So I also bring in a little bit of the brown below the eye. Plot in here a bit brown around and darker lines between the lighter hair. We always need also shadow as a darker color, also when the fur is light between the hairs, not too dark for sure when it is white or very light fur, but shadows, so to bring in contrast is also always important. I blend then here the brown a little bit upwards and mix it with the white I have added before and blend the layers together. You can see how beautifully you can create soft transitions with the pastel pigment. Yes, and if you're interested in joining the Joy of Pastels week, February 3rd to 6th, comment joy below and we send you the link in the DMs. And this works on Facebook, on YouTube, we post the link below. And I would so love to welcome you and draw with you together next week, support you. You can also then ask questions and get feedback to your drawing, show your port results then there, and you can ask all questions you have for sure too there. You can also win prizes, there will be giveaways, and it will be a lot of fun. Okay, do you have any other questions about drawing animals in general with pastels, or questions about art in general, or drawing, painting with pastels, the drawing technique, the layering process? So post them below. Yes, next question. Do you prefer working from light to dark or dark to light? Okay, so with the pastels on pastel matte paper or on the Casson meat and velvet, it's easily possible to draw with lights over darks. So I don't draw, so I don't always, so that's the case why I not start with the lights, because you always can add them afterwards. What I do, so a core rule is of my method, and I do that most time, is to start with a mid-tone, like with the brown here or like here. So a mid-tone of a mixture of brown and white. So I start with a mid-tone, and then I add darker colors into it. So when I draw fur, for example, draw some darks into it, like here. And then I work again more mid-tones in, different brown tones, for example. And then from the mid-tone and putting in darks, going then to the lighter colors. So add then more and more lighter colors. And finally, then I had highlights on top. So it's more from dark to light what I'm doing. But yes, most times I start with a mid-tone and then I go in with the darks and work upwards to light. But I also, when there for sure is a highlight section, I start right away with the lights. But it is most times mid-tone, bring in darks and add highlights then on top. So here I have also added the darker black lines, and then go over with some ivory lines here, and let them also always so overlap here the eyebrows, let them cross, have always a good look to the reference photo, and draw what you see, not what you think you see. Let's also add here a bit orange brown color. Who else has a question? Post them below in the comments. I'm happy to answer. I add a bit orange brown around. So always bring in different colors into your portrait. I'm sharpening the ivory. And have a look into the comments. If you have posted questions, take the chance, write questions below, or tell me, are you a beginner? Are you working for a longer time with pastels? Would you like to refine your portraits, or just getting some tips? Or would you like to start learning how to draw animals? Why would you like to draw animals? Do you find them as fascinating as I do? I started drawing, it's now nearly 20 years ago, I think. I found all these pastel first animal portraits so fascinating online, and I wanted to be able to learn how to draw that too. First, I thought I can never do that. I started with graphite and colored pencils then, but I did not like colored pencils at all. And then I discovered the pastels, and I really liked it, how animals came up, how you can mix colors directly on the paper, how you can blend the colors. And yes, and then I have drawn my horse many times, and the animals of my friends for present, for birthday and Christmas and so on. This was really amazing then to see that what joy that brought to them. Maybe you would like to do that too, or you just want to create art for yourself, for your have relaxed time, me time, and so on. Just sit down and do something with your hands, create something, be creative. That's one of the most important thing, I think, to have me time, to reserve at least 20 minutes or half an hour every day for yourself. I know we are all busy. I have also a daughter. She's turning 9 now, and you need a lot of time for sure for your children and for the household and for cooking, or maybe for sure you have to go to work, but doing something you really like is sometimes so important, and have a bit of time for yourself. And art is really an amazing activity for that. It's also therapeutic for people who would like to or needed to calm down a bit or relax or think about different things if you had bad experiences. So drawing can do so many beautiful things. Who else wants to ask a question? Post them below in the comments. I'm happy to answer your questions. Another question is how I draw the outlines or the sketch. So there are different ways you can do that. You can, so first of all, you can do it freehand for sure. But full animal portraits, you don't have to do freehand. It's important that the proportions are correct, and the opinions are really different, but there are so many artists who use a method for drawing the outlines, because then you can focus on building up the layers, on bringing in the right values, bringing depth and contrast, on choosing the correct colors. Especially when you're starting out, you don't have to waste the time for learning how to draw the proportions correctly freehand. It's then so much fun to just focus and concentrate on building up the layers of fur in your animal portrait, and you will learn so much. You are in the learning phase, and the more further you are then on your animal art journey, you will try out also then more to draw freehand, or to try different techniques out for the beginning, or also to save time. You can definitely use a method like tracing paper or the grid method, helping lines, or you can use projectors, or there is also an app there, that Da Vinci app, that's you can also use for drawing the outlines, or just helping lines around the eye, or putting pastel pigment on the back side of the paper, the printed reference photo, and then trace along the outlines. So there are many different options, and tracing is not cheating. Many favorite artists also do that, and it just makes your life easier and helps you to learn. And the most important thing is then how you bring in your own style into your animal portrait. And it's also the most work to do that, to bring it alive. If you only have drawn outlines, then you will not have the finished portrait in your hands. So definitely you can also trace the outlines without having a bad feeling. Steve is writing, it seems when you the paper stamp, you use light pressure. Are you trying to get the pastel buildup down or just to blend while leaving the stroke? It depends. So in the first base layers, I use more pressure most of the time to push the pigment into the paper, or when I, for example, have applied too much pastel pigment on the paper, when you, for example, have used softer pastel pencils or soft pastel sticks for the base layer, or in your portraits in larger areas, then I press more, really with a lot of pressure, to remove pastel pigment that I have applied too much to the paper, to allow more layers then on top. And here, when I have then drawn more layers in the fur, I want to make the fur a bit smoother, to remove grit on top of the lines. Then I use really light pressure, like it looks like for you. I just swipe over very gently, and I don't want to push the pigment into the paper, because then I would remove all the fine lines I have drawn. Maybe when I would like to blend here the fur a little bit into the background, or let it fade, then I increase the pressure a bit, because then I want to remove the lines a bit. Then I use a bit more pressure with the paper stamp, but over the layers of fur, not, because I just want to make them a little bit softer and smoother, these lines, and to remove a bit grit on top of these strokes of the hairs. So it depends how much pressure you need with the paper stamps. So here I add some more rougher strokes in the eyebrows. Here I also press a little bit more to achieve some rougher strokes, a bit broader strokes. For fine, thin lines, I reduce the pressure. Okay. Any other questions? Post them in the comments. If you have questions about the Joy of Pastels week, then I invite you also to click the link you find above in the description, or we post in the comments. You come to the registration page. There you find also all the information you need for signing up, also for people who are watching the replay of the live of today. Yes, and if you have any other questions, feel free to ask in the comments. Our beautiful cat eye here is nearly finished for today. The videos will stay on YouTube and on the Facebook page, so you can also watch it again if you would like and draw along, or come to the Joy of Pastels week next Monday and draw with me together and ask questions. If you would like to continue your art journey, or just have a bit fun in the workshop. Okay. I just add here some layers, another hair layer with some finer strokes. And maybe I go with a sharp black once more over the lower eyelid and make the lower eyelid line a bit straight. So with very little pressure and a sharp black, I go here. So over once more and make that here a little bit straighter. Maybe I also add a bit black below the lower eyelid and darken that down here. Okay, just make some corrections you would like. Okay, so I hope you have enjoyed drawing this or watching or drawing along, or if you watched the recording, this cat eye study today. So share questions below too, and then I answer them in the comments. If you're watching the recording, you're welcome also to comment below, and we are happy to answer your questions. And I hope I see you then in the Joy of Pastels week next Monday. It's a 4-day drawing workshop. You find the link in the description or comment below with Joy. And I hope I see you there. Otherwise, I hope you here next live on the Facebook page or on the YouTube channel. And I hope you enjoy drawing and you are as fascinated of drawing animals with pastels as I am. Thank you for watching and thank you for asking all your questions. See you soon. Have a great time. Bye bye.